the Habits to Goals podcast with Martin Grunburg. It's time to take control of your life. Are you ready to achieve goals faster and more consistently than ever before? You need the habit factor. You're listening to Habits to Goals, the podcast that helps you create the habits that lead to success. And here is Martin Grunburg.
Alrighty, here we go. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. My name is Martin Grunburg. You have reached Habits to Goals. Yes, this is the podcast that constantly reminds you to align your habits to your goals, conscientiously craft those positive, supportive habits that are going to help you achieve your goals more quickly. It is not about the to-do list. Repeat after me. It is not about the to-do list. It's about the core recurring behaviors, the habits that are going to help you to achieve your goals. Today, I love this FAF, Frequently Asked Friday. There's been a lot of low-hanging fruit here. What is the best way to craft a good habit? And I want to start by telling you what is not the best way. What is not the best way is what is perpetuated on the internet over and over and over. In fact, I'll do this as we speak. So something called cue, routine, and reward. It's minorly sad that this has perpetuated itself so much. There's no blame here. People want to say it comes from the Power of Habit book, but it really doesn't. It was popularized by the Power of Habit book, not to be confused with the Habit Factor, which is what is behind this podcast. But cue, routine, reward is simply this understanding that something will trigger a behavior, a cue. Then there's the behavior. So think about that for a second. Something triggers the behavior, then there's the behavior, and then there's a reward. And where do you think that idea comes from? Again, it comes out of behavior psychology, and it goes back to testing. I'm just going to give it away. It emerges from laboratory tests with rats and mice. So they put mice in a little maze and they run around, and basically they enter the maze, they find where the cheese is, and the next time they do it, they're faster because the cue is, for instance, that they're entering this familiar territory, and then the reward is the cheese. And so the behavior becomes strengthened, and it's not entirely unlike Pavlov's dog. He would hear the bell, he would salivate because he knew he was going to get fed. So there's an element of all of this for us to learn from as humans, and that's a key distinction. The challenge is we're trying to take what works in the animal world and translate it to the human world. And while there are some similarities and a lot of truths that transcend from one creature to the other, there's a significant difference which isn't written about in really any other book. It's this idea, because it confuses people, it's this idea that consciously we craft habits, behaviors that are performed mostly unconsciously. So the best way to form a habit is not to follow cue, routine, reward. Okay, so let me give you an example. I want to develop the running habit. I'm going to put my shoes by the door. That's my cue. And then I see my shoes, so I go run. And then what's my reward? I'm going to eat a piece of cake. Obviously, that doesn't even make sense. That's not going to help me develop a habit. It may work. I'm going to put my shoes by the door. The cue triggers me, and then I go run. What's really going to help is something that was introduced by, there's really no other way to say it, introduced by the Habit Factor and with the Habit Factor app. And this, again, the app's free, the tracking sheet's free. Nobody's selling anything. The reason I do this is because it's important to get the right information out. If people are struggling out there trying cue, routine, reward, there's good reason. You're not a rat. You're not a mouse. And that's not the right way to develop a core recurring behavior, a habit. So let me suggest to you what has worked from my experience, and then, of course, with hundreds and then thousands of other people. It's something called P.A.R.R. It's an acronym. It stands for Plan, Act, Record, which is tracking plus notes, and Reassess. You've probably heard me mention this before, but for this FAF, Frequently Asked Friday, I just want to propose to you there's a clear distinction between what the Habit Factor is promoting and teaching and basically everybody else. And cue, routine, reward doesn't work. And if you put them side by side, maybe someday I'll build a graph. The first problem is cue, routine, reward has no planning involved. You could say, I'm going to put the shoes by the door, but there's really, where's the plan? Like, and when are you going to put the shoes by the door? In the morning, at night, on Sunday, on Saturday? Where's the plan? So over here, we got cue, routine, reward, no plan. Over here with the Habit Factor and habits to goals. Yes, we just said that. I hope this thing is on. We have planning. So we plan. We say we're going to run 3 times a week. We're establishing our cue in our planning. And we're establishing the frequency. So with the planning comes how many times a week? 2 times a week, 5 times a week, 7 times a week. The recommendation is if you've never ran, which is actually where I had come from with my mission to ultimately do an Ironman, and I didn't own running shoes. I didn't own a road bike. The point is, using P.A.R.R, I planned. I said I'm going to run 3 times a week for 20 minutes. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So cue, routine, reward, unfortunately that doesn't help. So the C is toast, right? I'm going to pull up one of their graphs here. So then the routine, well, all that's saying is, I think, the habit. So if you have a cue, your shoes by the door, then you go do the action, they perform the behavior. So it's almost like circular logic. What they're saying is to build a habit, you have a cue, you perform the habit, and then you eat cheese. It's sad how proliferated this message is. So let's go over here. Plan, act. So we know it's 3 times a week for 20 minutes each time. That's part of the plan. Then we act, right? And it's just a 1 or a 0. We're going subtle. We're going simple. We're going binary. 1 or 0. 1 is you did it. You met your minimum 20 minutes. A 0 is you didn't. So the tracking sheet has both a target column. So this is hard to visualize. So I just recommend you go to thehabitfactor.com /templates, you can download the tracking sheet. This is what precipitated the app. In fact, in many ways, it was working in concert with the book, but it hit the public, so to speak, well before the book. So we plan, we act, then we record. Again, using that tracking sheet, it's just a 1 or a 0. Did I do it on Tuesday? Yes. So the target column has a 1 because it's a target day. And then the actual column, now that it's Tuesday and I ran, I put a 1. And Thursday rolls around, I have a target of 1, but I didn't run on Thursday. That sucks. So I put a 0. But the good news is Friday I can use as a makeup day. So even though the target is 0, I'm going to put a 1 in actual because I'm going to run. So I sustain my 3 times a week. So again, cue, routine, reward. There's no plan, and there's cheese. P.A.R.R, you plan, act, record. You have target and actual, and then you reassess. How did I do? Not just looking back over 1 week. 1 week is too small a period of time. What we recommend is you go 4 weeks, basically a 4-week interval. So that's why one of the programs we have is a 28-day breakthrough, 4-week interval, and then you assess. And if you were 85% or better, and this is after 8 years of experience, case studies, feedback, we know that at that point, it's safe to raise the bar. So what does that mean? That means instead of 3 times a week, you're going to try 4 times a week. Or you'll stay at 3 times a week, but instead of 20 minutes, you'll run for 40 minutes. And then you record that. So you set up the plan, you act, you record, and you reassess after another 4 weeks. Sounds slow. You're probably thinking this is painful. The flip side is I can tell you, people get so excited about the instant momentum. And by instant, I mean after that first week. They're like, wow, I cannot believe this is happening to me. They are excited. The only problem then is they try to track too many habits. So this is the best way to develop a core recurring behavior, a habit. It is not cue, routine, reward. Say it with me. It is not cue, routine, reward. It is P.A.R.R. Plan, act, record, and reassess. And then you raise the bar, which helps you develop something called habit strength. Because habit is almost identical to skill. And how are you going to become a better piano player? It's through repetition. It's through more practice. Well, the more you practice, the more ingrained the habit or the skill becomes. And it's the same with any other core recurring behavior, any other habit. So earlier I said this is what's super confusing to some people, and it's understandable. The idea of consciously, conscientiously crafting a habit that's going to serve you largely unconscious or subconsciously, it's a bit of a, I guess for lack of a better word, it's a bit of a paradox. It's a bit dichotomous. It's this idea that it's not just habit being living in the subconscious world. We can conscientiously craft it so it serves us later. So if we look at the great successes or the people we admire, all they have done is, and by the way, they have done it through, I don't know, they've either done it through will, intention, they battled. I mean, obviously people have been developing habits. They either craft themselves unintentionally, and most of the time These are bad habits, unfortunately. But a lot of people develop great habits, and they can do it without following this P.A.R.R process. What they're doing is, in my mind, probably a lot of extra work, a lot of extra willpower, and this just gives somebody who's struggling a template and a framework to work off and from. It's the same template that helped me to, basically write a book when I'd never authored a book. I have it right on my other desk right behind me. So whatever the goal is, whatever it is I want to put intention around, using P.A.R.R, plan, act, record, and reassess, has proven vital and critical and super important. So cue, routine, reward, it lacks any reassessment. It lacks any recording or tracking. It doesn't mention planning. And I'm not trying to make this an us versus them. If this were somebody else's, and it's just something I tripped upon on the web, and it was their P.A.R.R versus cue, routine, reward, I'd still be saying the same thing. It's a much stronger platform to use for a person. Again, if you were a rat or a mouse, cue, routine, reward is perfect. But since you're listening to this, my guess is you are not. So we covered a lot of ground. I'm trying to do this semi-quickly. Oh my goodness. I see another image, something. So it's called the habit loop. And there's another one that talks about reminder, routine, reward. It's the same thing as cue, routine, reward. It's not about the habit loop. All right. I got that off my chest. But your question was how to develop a good positive habit. The best way. What is the best way? The best way. And I'm totally open. I'm looking for all sorts of other ideas and input. But this is what the Habit Factor introduced in 2009. And the only thing that happened was about 100 habit apps came out after, using and following the same ideas around P.A.R.R, plan, act, record, reassess. That is frequency, minimum success criteria, etc. So that is proof enough that is the methodology behind how you want to develop a good positive habit. All right, now I am done. Thank you for joining me. I'm out, and you are awesome. Get the tracking template, download the free app. That's your process, and keep it simple. Just try to forge one habit, whether it's meditation, reading. Just focus on one new behavior, one new habit, and you will kill it. And I look forward to your feedback later. Cheers. Hey, really quick, I just want to remind you, if you want to grab your habits and goals tracking template, the template that started it all, you can get that really quickly. Just text me at 33444 and simply text the word habits. That is habits, HABITS, to 33444, and you will get the tracking template immediately. All right. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Thanks for dropping a quick review. It'll take you less than 30 seconds if you're getting value.